These teams are playing their best basketball right now in January. As a result,
Trent Carroll's going to sit. He earns the break. He scored the last 12 points for Xavier.
And of course, now the question is going to be who's going to score for Xavier. As Pop Njai checks in the game, he can hit the trail of three, but not an offensive threat like Carroll.
Zuby Ejiofor is back on the floor. Dylan Mitchell is tripped up. Xavier's going to pick up their 15th foul. So Xavier outscores St. John's 7-5 with Ejiofor on the bench. Carroll with some blood on his jersey. He'll be back shortly. This is going to be a quick rest. We'll take it to the under 8, I'm sure. You get to that media timeout, and you'll probably see Carroll back on the floor to finish this one out. Darling, and it's another foul on Njai.
And Darling, we talk about this kid, tough, blue-collar player. How about that win against St. John's? He was huge there in the second half, making plays, defense. A lot of that comeback happened with Ejiofor on the bench with foul trouble, and Darling leading the way with his attack.
Njai's got that desirable line going for a bruiser, Grant. 4 minutes, 4 fouls.
Oh, wow.
And he goes to the bench. Robinson in for Xavier.
Got to make the most of your minutes.
Here's Ejiofor now. Big bodies going at it. Robinson stands tough. And who touched it last? That's going to be off of Xavier. Richard Pitino has no more challenges, so it's going to be St. John's ball.
Right here, these two big brutes getting after. I couldn't see. My vision's not that good. But Richard Pitino didn't challenge, so it must be the right call.
Yeah. And he's out of them. Darling for three. The lefty cashes one in. A corner three off the bench for Dylan Darling. 2-point game. Here goes Roddy Anderson, and Darling defending. Darling forces a missed shot, gets a block on it, and now he turns it over. It was all going well for Dylan Darling, but he turns it over. Big chance here for Xavier. Shot fake, Borovicin, and no. Darling with a rebound. Approaching the 8-minute mark, we'll have a media timeout on the next whistle. Mitchell scores with the left hand. Dropped a flurry of moves on Xavier.
And that was decisive, quick, and explosive from Dylan Mitchell.
We are tied at 67. Borovicin and Milicevic, two-man game. Milicevic passes it up.
There's too much one-on-one. Xavier getting away from what worked in that first half. Ball movement, player movement. Too much ISO ball right now for Xavier.
Oh, a little step through by Borovicin. Can't hit it. Into the hands of Darling. St. John's really taking advantage of these minutes with Carroll on the bench. St. John's a chance to take the lead here.
They try to go to Hopkins. They feel like he has the mismatch.
Borovicin in the target. Hopkins drops his shoulder, puts it in, and one. St. John's throwing it into fifth gear just as Carroll went to the bench. St. John's in front with a free throw coming. Their first lead since it was 25-23, and they have covered a 16-point deficit in the second half.
And welcome back to Cincinnati, where Dylan Mitchell is back in Cincinnati, where he played for the Bearcats across town. And back in this familiar surroundings, really taking over this game, doing it with defense, scoring, activity, points in the paint, at the rim, great move and footwork, patience, touch. Only 5 first half points for Dylan Mitchell, 12 second half points for that young man. And so we talked earlier, Andy Katz mentioned the key to this run as of late for the Red Storm. Dylan Mitchell in the lineup and featured for the Red Storm.
Bryce Hopkins has had a big second half as well. He's got 11. Misses a chance at a three-point play. Mitchell and Hopkins have combined for 23 of the 32 St. John's points. And all right, almost turning it over. It is not all right for all right now, and this is going to be a foul on Darling.
Darling has really improved point of attack defense. Great anticipation, competes, makes life miserable, almost forcing a turnover. Had a deflection there, and I thought it was pretty solid. You see the arm there by All Right, using that all left to hook a little bit. And it's rewarded. This is the Big East. The Big East, physicality at its best.
It's going to be a free throw game the rest of the way. We've got nearly 7 minutes in regulation here. Both teams in the bonus as Wright knocks down both shots on the 1-and-1. And a couple of free throws ties this game at 69.
Xavier back in the game. Get him a touch. Let him be involved.
Trent Carroll back on the floor. Rick Pitino trying to buy a little extra time. St. John's went on a 7-0 run. Dylan Darling got away with a travel, and he buries a triple. Second three-pointer in the last 4 minutes for Dylan Darling. Big shot. St. John's back in front by 3. Trent Carroll fouled. Xavier picks up number 3. And Trent Carroll goes to the line.
And how about Darling? You just leave him right there. No one around him. Nice little fake to pass the ball there and froze the defense. But Darling, you know, it was interesting. The point guard position, a challenge for St. John's, and finding out this team and identity and roles. They started Darling for a period of time. That didn't quite work out. But bringing him off the bench, and he has been a closer for this group, and getting it done with his shot making, facilitating, and incredible defense on the ball.
Well, Darling, remember, had the calf strain early in the year. And, you know, we saw St. John's early in the season. We were told Darling was one of the keys to the season for St. John's because of his playmaking. Xavier, offensive rebound, and one! Isaiah Sellers strong to the basket with the harm, and a chance at a three-point play for St. John's.
And so much to admire there from the Red Storm. First of all, Xavier on the glass, great intensity, and then his passing. Bounce past the streaking Sellers. You see him absorb the contact, finish. And that wasn't happening in the first half. St. John's was getting opportunities at the rim. They couldn't finish through length and contact. Much better job collectively as a team here, BA, in the second half.
Well, it is a ripple effect, too. Not only is it a three-point possession, but Milicevic, 24 in white, just picked up his 4th foul. Had just 1 in the first half. There goes Carroll, backing his way in. Double team comes. Carroll fights through it and scores.
He was not going to be denied. Attacking the double team.
Darling to the basket, blocked by Carroll. Borovicin on the run out. Hopkins on his tail, and Borovicin lays it in.
Carroll both ends, scoring, splitting the trap, attacking on defense, and forcing Rick Pitino to call a timeout. And just like that, St. John's was in control with Xavier back in it. Streaking down the lane there, Borovicin. And how about the defense? Not just a scorer, but a defender. The hair is flowing. Vidal Sassoon ad coming soon.
Trent Carroll, 6'8", grad senior, coming from Florida Atlantic, was part of that Final Four run 2 years ago. And he is Xavier's best player, and he's got 28 points. It is St. John's ball. St. John's leads by a point as we approach the 5-minute mark. Hopkins cups it and is fouled on his way to the basket.
Hopkins right there just kind of taking his time. Wanted that matchup. Loves to drive to his left hand. You always have to fear the spin back to his right. But the strength right there, understanding the matchup to his favor, getting to the line. Hopkins relatively quiet in that first half. Much more aggressive here in the second.
Andy Katz.
You know, what you don't see is how hard he worked to get back to this point. Grant, you know all about injuries. And he spent 2 years trying to deal with this knee injury and just was desperate to get back on the floor to be a major contributor. And it sort of helped. I mean, Providence doesn't love it, but it helped to have sort of a fresh new start.
I agree. And would you say he's more confident now in his body?
No question, no question.
Borovicin picked up his 4th foul. He fires up a three-pointer, no good. There's Carroll with the offensive rebound, and he stepped on the baseline.
And Carroll almost got away with an offensive foul. I thought he pushed Mitchell in the back to get that rebound. Toe on the line right there. And I'll tell you, what would Xavier be? Where would they be in this half without the play of Carroll?
Yeah, he's been amazing. Unfortunately, Xavier, for Xavier anyway, they are in big trouble with foul trouble with Borovichinen and Milicevic. Right now, Borovichinen is the only on the floor. Milicevic trying to buy some time. Here's Ejiofor now, backs his way in. We've got Robinson in the air, a foul, and Ejiofor will go to the line. St. John's leads the Big East in free throws. They're 7th in the nation. This is what they do. They go on the attack, they force fouls, and they get to the line, Grant.
Well, so creative, though, at getting Ejiofor the ball in different spots, and one of the best in the Big East at drawing fouls.
Ejiofor now 5 of 8 from the line.
NBA right now, Milicevic subbing in now. So Rick Pitino, offense, defense, and you'd think they would have learned free throw blockouts.
Oh my goodness.
Every possession matters in these close matchups.
That's what cost him the game against Creighton. Borovichinen had it. He tipped it to the wrong man. Now Mitchell attacking Borovichinen with those 4 fouls. And it's lost down low into the hands of Carroll, behind the back, coast to coast, and a foul. It's going to be an offensive foul.
How about that? Ejiofor sliding those puppies there, getting his body in the way. Carroll loves to get to that left hand. The question was, no, he was in a good spot. Rick Pitino is irate. Usually mild mannered, usually pretty calm. He is livid. You think his assistant coaches would go grab him. I think they got it right, although the officials are going to go to the monitor here, but Rick Pitino, suited and booted, a little upset.
Well, they're going to the monitor here, I think, just to make sure, either possession or to see if there was an elbow above the shoulders. I'm not sure which. You can't challenge calls. This is not a challenge situation. You can't challenge fouls at the collegiate level.
Right here, Ejiofor anticipating, gets there. Moving his feet there a little bit, but he's in the right spot.
And so Matt Potter just came over and explained, because they had 2 whistles with varying calls, it goes to the possession arrow. And it's going to be St. John's ball.
Could have gone either way on that one. Rick Pitino not happy at all. He was livid.
So you have 2 officials with opposing calls. Possession arrow St. John's, and now both Patinos are upset.
Right now, Ejiofor on the bench, as is Milicevic with the foul trouble. I think it's once again it's Mitchell or Hopkins that got to be aggressive here with the big fella sitting.
Darling's hit a couple of threes. Darling finds Hopkins. Hopkins has had a hot hand here in the second half. He's got 12 in the second half. And now Sellers cut off. Mitchell again, the lefty, no good. And Messina Moore with a rebound. Messina Moore pushes. Trent Carroll guarded by Mitchell. Carroll splits it. Carroll, no good. And Prey battling for that rebound into the hands of Sellers.
And I think that late contest by Mitchell has got a lot of bounce in his step, forced Carroll. One of the few misses he's had here this afternoon.
Hey, if you follow the Big East, you know how physical this conference is. They let him play. And it is extremely physical right now. Sellers cut off. Now Hopkins. We approach the 3-minute mark. 5 to shoot for St. John's. St. John's up by 3. Here goes Hopkins. Hopkins denied. And that's going to be a foul on Robinson.
I'm not sure why the crowd is upset. There was all types of contact on that drive. But hey, there's been all types of contact all afternoon. St. John's aggressive late clock.
Shot clock violation prior to the foul. This is going to be Xavier ball when it's all cleaned up. Shot clock violation prior to the foul being called.
Can we go back and see?
Watch the clock.
Oh, the ball was No, I don't know about that.
I don't either.
The ball clearly from that angle, and I said my vision's not great, but the ball was released from Hopkins' hands there before the shot clock was at 0. So interesting that they reviewed that and came to that conclusion.
That was a direct quote from the official Matt Potter. Xavier ball, again, at the collegiate level, you cannot challenge fouls, but it does feel like every now and then officials go to the monitor, try to figure out a way to work themselves out of a jam. So I don't know if that was the case. It did not look like a shot clock violation, but that's the call. Xavier ball here.
And just like 3 minutes earlier, Rick Pitino was upset, screaming at the officials. Now his dad, Rick Pitino, upset as well.
There's a good phrase for that, but I'm not going to use it right now. It's a lot of alliteration. Oh. Xavier with a huge opportunity here. Down 3 with the ball. Borovichinen with the 4 fouls.
A lot of dribbling right here. Not a great possession for the Xavier.
Ruben Prey doing a nice job preventing Carroll from getting the ball. Now Milicevic turns it over, fights it back, and if this is a foul on Milicevic, it's his 5th. It is, and he is out.
Just an unfortunate situation there for Xavier. You got to break on that that shot clock violation from St. John's, and just offensively too much dribbling. You lose the ball, and right there, reaching in. I thought, you know what, that could have been a no call right there. Maybe off of Xavier. Now, once again, for the 6th time this season in back-to-back games, Milicevic fouls out.
Yeah, in 5 of the last 6 games. He's undersized, playing a different position, but he's gone. Sellers knocks down both free throws. Xavier goes from having a chance to tie to finding themselves 2 possessions down here with 2.5 to go in regulation.
You got to figure out their offense. No flow. You got to trust the offense. Get ball movement, player movement. One-on-one against this defense is not going to work, of course, unless you're Trent Carroll.
Prey on Carroll. Carroll, step back 3 over the 7-footer, and he hits it. Whoa! What a shot by Trent Carroll.
I mean, you may want to start running a double team at Trent Carroll. That is how he is feeling. Confidence on supreme, like Brian Anderson on the mic, just getting it done. Trent Carroll, big-time shot from a big-time player.
Trent Carroll is on a heater of all heaters right now. 31 points is a career high, 18 here in the second half. His last 3 games, he's gone for 29, 29, and 31. And we were here for his previous high of 30 in the crosstown shootout against Cincinnati.
I don't know what he's making in NIL, but he might need a raise.
That was a big shot. It's a 2-point game. St. John's with the lead in the ball. Ejiofor finds Hopkins. Interesting that Darling is on the floor running the point for St. John's. Now Hopkins goes to work on Carroll. Hopkins, no. Ejiofor battling it, ends up in the hands of Walker. Xavier a chance to tie or take the lead. Carroll drives. The lefty stops. And a prayer is answered.
Almost a turnover.
And now a reset. Messina Moore, shifty. Messina Moore to the basket. And we're tied. Timeout. Malik Messina Moore, one of the best scorers in the Big Eastern Conference play, delivers 2 big ones.
St. John's has chipped away at this lead, took the lead. It's just showing a lot of grit, a lot of fight.
Both teams in the double bonus. St. John's just used their last timeout. Centos Center is rocking, one of the great environments in college basketball.
You got to know that they're going to go to Ejiofor here. The last few times, Xavier has double teamed, so the shooters got to be ready for St. John's on that double team.
Here goes Darling to the basket, and he lays it in. Dylan Darling, he's hit a couple of threes, a clutch 2-point bucket. Xavier with Borovichinen, he's fouled and one, and Xavier can take the lead here.
I think that right there might have been the 5th foul on Ejiofor too. Great presence of mind by Borovichinen, just driving A little bit of contact. I thought he was sliding his feet there. Xavier, maybe that right arm got caught in there. And man, what a big-time shot. We talked. Trent Carroll, just what he has done this entire half. But you've seen back-to-back possessions for Xavier. First, Messina Moore with a beautiful drive and finish. And then once again, Bora Vichanen making a tough shot in traffic and fouling out St. John's best player. Wow, and just like that, have an opportunity to take the lead here.
Free throw coming. Xavier, the DQ, picks up his 5th foul. And Bora Vichanen at the line to give Xavier the lead. Xavier will exit with a double-double. Goes for 13 points, 11 rebounds. Chipped in with 4 assists as well. Filip Bora Vichanen. Xavier's in front. Minute 12 to go. 5th lead change.
There's a little screen and roll action maybe for Darling. Mitchell on the post, he's got a smaller Walker on him. And of course, Hopkins, who's turned it on here in the second half. They got to get organized with their sets.
Now Darling, 3-pointer flies. Good! Dylan Darling! Big-time shot!
I tell you, this young man, Idaho State Big Sky Player of the Year, not afraid at all.
Clutch bucket. Xavier, do they have an answer? Carroll throws it up and over the backboard, and it'll be St. John's ball.
It looked like Carroll lost his footing right there, but here, Darling, little crossover, creates some separation there, and that's some big-time cojones there. 11 points all in this half. Darling becoming a closer for Rick Pitino.
It's his 3rd three. Remember, Dylan Darling started the year, missed his first 12 three-pointers. He's been shooting at over 50% since that dreadful start. Massive possession. St. John's looking for a bucket. Xavier needs a stop. Here's Sellers now. Sellers working on Bora Vichanen. 9 to shoot. Darling. Bora Vichanen with 4 fouls. Darling, no. And there is Prey with a follow. First bucket of the game. Prey makes it a 2-possession game. Xavier's got to go quick. Messina Moore is fouled. And Messina Moore will go to the line. Chance for points for Xavier with the clock stopped.
Well, back on the other end, Darling drives, and Robinson comes over and contests, and as a result, couldn't get a body on Prey. Prey in the right place at the right time. It's just a nice tap, and I don't know. I mean, Robinson did the right thing contesting there, but man, giving up an offensive rebound, big time for St. John's.
Messina Moore knocks down the first, 18 for him.
Right now, St. John's has no timeouts. Right,
Xavier just used their last.
Yeah. Yep.
Oziah Sellers, number 4 in red, is the guy you want to have the ball in his hands. It's a miss, and Hopkins with a rebound, and there goes the foul. And Bryce Hopkins, who shoots it at 76% from the free throw line, will go to the line, and a chance to make this a 2-possession game. Huge miss by Messina Moore.
These are huge free throws, as you talked about. A strong rebound there off that free throw, and Pitino has one of his key players with a chance to extend the lead here.
This could be the game right here. Got it. Clutch free throw from Hopkins. He missed a couple of free throws earlier, but makes this a 4-point game with 5.4 seconds left. Xavier, no timeouts. They've got to go the length of the floor and hope for a miracle now. Hopkins to make it a 5-point game. Does so. Big time free throws from Bryce Hopkins on the road. And now Xavier running out of time. Messina Moore, no good. And that's it. And St. John's comes back to win. And Rick Pitino, his 900th career victory. St. John's goes to 8-1 in the Big East, and a milestone for the Hall of Fame coach.